I mean, it was quite a conference there, rallying call, very passionate stuff. Jay, obviously, I'll start with yourself. What do you make of a conference like that?
Yeah, look, I think positivity is what you want, you know, but it all boils down to the players you've got at your disposal. And I think that's where they're unfortunately, they've come unstuck. But they have, and what we don't quite know yet is how fit he is, but they have James Maddison. Because when I look at Tottenham, I think one thing that they are completely devoid of, and even more so without Xavi Simons, is any creativity. You know, they've signed a lot of runners in their team. They've signed people that can run after the ball and go and chase it. But sometimes you need someone who's just going to get hold of the ball and do something different, have a bit of magic. You know, Somerville at West Ham, there's a player, because it feels like a straight fight between those two sides now. I look at Somerville, I look at Bowen, I look at Fernandes in midfield that can get the game, calm it down and play. When I look at Tottenham, everything is so chaotic. There's no real calmness about how they play, and that's a lot to do with the recruitment and all the things he's gone off and about there. I'm his biggest fan, but I think he's a top coach. Whether he's going to get the time to produce what he wants at the moment is debatable, but I do believe if they can get James Maddison in amongst it, but there's a danger that comes with that, is if he has another reoccurrence of his problem, then you're in trouble. But he is what they need right now.
Yeah, as all of you pro athletes at the time, obviously, what does that road to recovery look like for James Maddison? Because obviously fans would be going, get him on the pitch as early as possible. But what do you think is actually possible? Is it 20 minutes at the end of the game?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you look at you boys do your cruise shot? I don't know. I didn't do. I had a lot of knee problems, but I didn't do. But I think Rodri is probably a good example for people, because I think we're talking about elite players. Rodri is elite, and it felt to me that it took him 15, 16 months. And even now, we're only just starting to see him. And if you imagine he did it in the Arsenal game last season. So it does take time, and that is the risk. But with someone like James, if it is 20 minutes, if it's 30 minutes just to come on and just create something, you probably will be taking that risk. If you weren't in this predicament, we would be seeing James Maddison next season. And I'd be pretty sure of that. But right now, it's a case of needs must, because they haven't got any creativity in that team whatsoever. I
mean, it is crazy. Kev, I'll ask you this, obviously, you knowing the management side and Quinton as well, obviously. But are those injuries, when you look at them, do you think that's just really bad luck? I mean, Xavi, Simons, Kulusevski, Maddison, Kudus, Odobert, Solanke, Romero. I mean, the list is insane. He's, Roberto De Zerbi in the press conference there, he's talking about, people are claiming the training pitch is no good or the pitch is no good. Is that stuff that the management will be looking into?
Obviously, and he'll sit down at the end of the season, but what he's got to do is about the here and now, and that's why you're seeing him the way he is and how passionate he is, because he's saying, let's stop moaning about everything else what's going against us. We've got to focus on what's ahead of us, and what's ahead of us is the next game and who I've got available for that next game. And now we need players to step up. Obviously, they haven't done that ever so often or quite so often or as often as what they would have liked, and that's why he's got the job. So what he's saying now, he's that cry is to not only to the players, because he'll be saying he'll have that environment really, fun and positive. As Jamie said, he comes across really positive in that moment. But what he's saying to the fans is, we need you to stay positive now with us. We need you now for the next, whatever many games it is, to get us over the line, to make sure that we're here in the Premier League next year, so that then we can start seeing the real Tottenham again. Because they're going to be in a tough fight. Because as Jamie just said there, West Ham are in a good place at the minute. They've got a tough game at Brentford this weekend. But, when you've got the likes of Bowen and Somerville playing the way they are, for Fernandes, the boy in the midfield as well, Thomas Souček scoring goals, the two lads who play with them, they work their socks off for them, and that helps them forward to be able to. So it's going to be a good run in.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure it's just a two-horse race, though. I know you think it might be, Jay. I think, Forest, I'm around Nottingham, I live in Nottingham, and they're still, twitching a bit. They've won a couple of games, yeah. But,
semi-final, Europa League
exactly, in between.
Well.
So
what do you think? So, because if that's the case, so 40, I'm doing a Leeds game tonight. 40 points it might take.
I think Leeds need to win tonight to get themselves out. I think 43 points. I think we might have, when it was 2000, 2003, when we relegated West Ham at Bolton, and they went down on 42. I think it could be a highest total since then, I think it really can,
I mean, looking at it as well, at the Spurs team, and going back to those injuries, in this run-in, that is so important. You mentioned some of the fantastic attacking talent that West Ham have kind of hitting form. It leaves Spurs, though, Quinton, with just three kind of fit out-and-out attackers that we can look at. Kolo Muani, Matis Tel and Richarlison.
Yeah.
When you look at those two players, is that enough, do you think, to get over that line?
It's going to have to be. You have no choice.
Yeah.
That's all you got. I mean, it's unfortunate that Solanke got injured the other day, and Simmons was the creativity. Players going to have to step up. They've got a wonderful manager who wants to play football. They got a great result the other day. You're saying against Wolves, 1-0 at the end, and he said that after the game he wasn't the best because he likes to play football. But at the moment, you got to not forget about football. It's about getting 3 points.
Yeah.
And whatever team you put out there, he's got the right mentality. He says, forget about excuses about the training ground. There's nothing wrong with anything. Spurs have got one of the best stadiums in the country, the most amazing training ground, I'm sure. So they got everything on the doorstep. And now it's about the players coming together, staying focused, and they can go to Villa and win. Yeah. Villa at the moment are going through a difficult period as well.